So today I'm going to tell you about the hole in my head. Well, it's not a hole now, but it was. And if you look real close, you can almost see a scar along in here. Can't see it well, which is amazing because that's the scar from my surgery when they cut a cancer out of my head, a melanoma off my head. Now, I'd had a melanoma before. I had one right down here and they cut it off and it came back. And this time it required a little more extensive surgery. In fact, I live in a town, Abilene, out in West Texas, and they don't even do this surgery in Abilene. I had to go to Dallas and have it done. And it was extensive. They deaden you up and they start cutting, and I had about 30 stitches just on the surface. When they cut into it, they said to get it all, it'd have to be really extensive, and they said we can do reconstructive surgery, some kind of like plastic surgery, or we can cut it and try to pull it together and stitch it that way. Well, at my age and the way I look, let's be real honest, I didn't need any kind of reconstructive plastic surgery. I just said cut it and pull it together. But there was a lot of blood, and when I came out, I was wrapped up in so many bandages that my wife said everybody was looking at us like I'd had brain surgery. But it cleaned up. And I'm really careful now about melanoma. I wear a hat out in the sun. I wear my sunscreen. I look for every spot. I go every 6 months to my dermatologist, have him look at everything. And it kind of reminds me of sin in my life. Sometimes you think you take care of sin and it comes back. And sometimes the only way to get rid of sin is to do really extensive, radical surgery to cut it out. And once you do, you want it to heal up. And by the power of God, your sin can be forgiven. You can be restored. It can be fixed. But you always want to be on your guard after that sin doesn't come back. You want to take your precautions. You want to be careful. There are a number of rules in my life I live by to try to keep sin from getting into my life. And someday you'll look up and realize you can't even see the scar that goes from here up to here and down to here to about right there. Can't even see it. Every once in a while somebody spots it and says, "Is that a scar?" And I realize the big wound in my head has become a scar. And that's the same way your sin is when you let Jesus forgive the sin in your life. And you do what it takes to keep the sin out of your life. And someday the gaping wound of sin that tore up your heart and your life, you'll look and you'll realize your wound has become a scar. Thank you, God, for the healing in my head, but more for the healing in my life because of your Son, Jesus.